What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Swazzy coming back again with another video. Today we're doing a review to The Little Things. Okay, this was played by Denzel Washington, Remi Malik, and also Jared Leto. Jared Leto did a phenomenal job in this movie. Congrats to him. Denzel Washington also, big star, and Remi Malik both all did amazing in this movie. But let me go ahead and give you the backstory. It's dealing with a deputy sheriff named Joe Deacon, who was played by Denzel Washington. Joins forces with Sergeant Jimmy Baxter, who was played by Remi Malik, to search for a serial killer, who was played by Jared Leto. That's funny because, he played the Joker. They search for a serial killer who's terrorizing Los Angeles. As they track the culprit, Baxter is unaware that an investigation is dredging up echoes of Deke's past, uncovering the startling secrets that could threaten more than his case. Yeah, and basically the case is to find a serial killer, but we're going to get into that. All right, so I'm going to give you a little backstory of Joe Deacon. Joe Deacon is used to be a detective, but then he's now a deputy sheriff. Boom. Some things happened in his past, meaning that there was a case that that kind of like made him go not stable. And he got divorced by with his wife named Marsha. He had to get triple bypass surgery, and also he had a heart attack. So that was crazy. But then them two actually do have two grown girls, so they did have that. Then we have a little bit backstory of Jimmy Baxter. He's a graduate from the academy. He went to college. He's kind of famous in the police world because of some cases that he did. So, but he's new to the department where Joe Deacon used to work at. Boom. All right, now we start the movie by them going to, or by Jimmy finding a body, and the body kind of ties up to an old case that Joe Deacon had. So that's how they both tie in together. But all the bodies are bounded. They get stabbed, and there's no evidence found to tie into anybody. And these cases have been going on for about 8 years, 7 to 8 years. Boom. So that's a little backstory of that. All the victims apparently are hookers. So the serial killer has a little bit of thing with hookers. I don't know. But anyway, they first get a suspect. His name is Stan Peters. He's a local sex offender. This and third. They go take him to the interrogation room. They interrogate him. He's not the person. They say let him go. And then all of a sudden they hear on the phone, or they hear that he killed himself. Wow. All right, well, if you're not guilty, you wouldn't have done that. But apparently he wasn't guilty. And I think he just killed himself because he was just tired of everybody, making statements about him, him being a sex offender, all this other stuff. But, yeah, that's wild. Anyway, and they always keep mentioning something about a similar case up north. That's where, apparently, they had the first kind of victims there was up north. But then they go to the autopsy room, and Joe Deacon asks the lady, "Hey, I need a favor." The lady's like, "Okay, what you need?" And he gives her a case file. She's like, her whole mood changes. And she gives him some keys, and on the key had a piece, like a metal piece on it. It was weird. And basically she gives him the keys. Those keys unlock the victim's apartment. He goes in there, tries to find some evidence in there, but he basically just observes the scene. And then later on, we get Joe Deacon. He goes to the cleaners, and he basically goes in there, takes some names, and all these and gives those names to Jimmy Baxter, which is the detective that's head of the case. And but before he goes out, he takes a look back where he got those papers from the dude at the cleaners, and he sees a person with some long hair, and then he doesn't think nothing about it, and then turns around and leaves. But that person turns around, and that was Albert Sparma. And so that's our first our first interaction with Jared Leto was when we saw him at the cleaners. Turn around, boom. Then later on, another body was found. Jimmy and a deacon meet up there, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, this is just like the cases up north, basically." So Deacon takes Jimmy back to the crime scene that happened 5 years ago, or where he first encountered all this. Then later on, Deacon goes to this guy's house, and because he's looking for older cars that have high mileage, so he peeps in this guy's car. He looks at the mileage; it's like 167,000 miles on it. Which, it is kind of high, but then again, not really. So then he gets caught. Albert comes out. And Deacon basically just flashes the light at him, like on his face, so Albert doesn't see Deke's face. That's what I'm thinking that was at. Or maybe it was the other way around, where Deke could see more of his. But I think it's basically him, for him not seeing his face. But then later on, he turned the lights off, and then boom, boom, boom. But basically, all he asked Albert was, "How's the trunk space?" So that was kind of funny to me that he would say that. But anyway, he steals his trash. Or Deke steals Albert's trash to see if he can find any evidence. He doesn't find none. So later on, Deke follows Albert, and for like 2 or 3 days. Then he gets caught. Albert pulls up to his car. Deke pulls out a gun, pulls it to like the side of his door, and Albert doesn't roll the window down. He just looks over and says, "How's the trunk space?" And then he drives on. And later on, the cops and the detectives all meet at Albert's house. They take him for questioning. But at the end of the day, they don't have no evidence on Albert. They have none at all. So they can't really do nothing to him. And Deke comes into the interrogation room and basically just goes off on Albert. But before he does that, he says, "Why is that?" He questions that. He's like, "Why is that?" Basically, Albert doesn't know what to say, but he's not stuck. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they don't have no forensic evidence on Albert. So he doesn't really need to say anything. He said, "Look, this is how confident he was." He said, "I plead the fifth." No, I'm kidding. Like, what? It's crazy. So later on, Jimmy goes to Deke's apartment, and Deke needs to let Jimmy know that, hey, I need to go to Albert's house. I need to go into it for 5 minutes so I can look around, see if I can see any evidence on if he had any kind of materials or any kind of evidence that would tie him to these murders. So Jimmy takes Deke to Albert's house, and they basically stake out and until he leaves. And he leaves, and he goes to a bar. But while he goes to the bar, Deke goes into the house. He picks the lock. He gets into the house, and he wears gloves so he doesn't get no fingerprints on anything. And he's very careful what he's doing. But then again, through the window, you see that he's shining the light, so it's weird. And then one of the lights turn red, and it's just crazy. And then all of a sudden, while we're doing this, Albert, he's at a bar, and he asks for the phone. And he's like, "I just got to make a local call." And he's all smirk about it. And then, boom, he basically calls the police on his own house. This makes Deke get out of the house and the only way he can escape is out the window onto the roof. And then while all this is happening, Jimmy, he looks in front of him, or he gets out of the car and looks in front of him, and he sees Albert standing there, and he waves to him with a Shirley Temple, because he ordered Shirley Temple to go. And it's just that point, it got really freaky. Like, what in the world? This dude is just, he's like outsmarting everybody, and it's crazy. And Jimmy actually picks him up a block away, and he asked him if he get any evidence. He was like, well, if I had 5 more minutes, I would have. Later on down, they still stake out Albert's house. Then Deke goes to a convenience store to go get some batteries for his watch, and he asked Jimmy if he wanted anything from the store. He's like, I'll just take a black coffee, because they've been staking out for a while and they're getting tired. So he goes and does that, and while this is happening, the phone rings. It's like a pay phone that rings like right in front of Albert's house across the street where Jimmy and Deke are parked at. And Jimmy goes to the phone, he picks it up, and then Albert, he's on the side of the street, and he says, boo. And then Jimmy tells him to get on the fence. And basically Albert says, hey, I'll take you to the girl, the original girl I killed. Wow. For some way, Jimmy got into the car, and Deke is coming up the street, and then he sees Jimmy and Albert take off in the car. So basically, Deke throws everything he just literally bought, and he tries to follow him. Boom. Albert gives Jimmy a key to unlock a gate. First of all, they travel about 30, 40 miles, let's say, give or take. Then he basically tells him they're in a dusty field, and he tells Jimmy to dig. Like, if you want to find her, dig. If you think I didn't do it, then because I'm innocent, then we can go get some tacos. You can drop me at that crib, and we can go grab you some tacos. But then Deke pulls up. He actually goes by the gate, and he makes a turnaround. But at his turnaround, there's a bulldozer there. Then he turns around, and he doesn't really mind that and pay attention to that. And then he goes back around and sees the gate and goes through the gate. And then Jimmy, or actually Albert, before this is happening, before Deke arrives, Albert keeps talking about Jimmy's family, keeps talking about his daughters, keep talking about him, saying that you shouldn't release stuff to the public about your situation, all this and that third. And then that makes Jimmy so mad that he hits Albert with a shovel, basically killing him. Oh my God. Now the serial killer is dead, because everybody feels like he did it, even though there was no evidence in it. It was just so condescending that he made it seem so much like him. While this is happening, Deke is still having flashbacks. He's had flashbacks the whole movie. So that was the crazy part. But yeah, Albert falls down. Then Deke pulls up, tells Jimmy to bury the body. He'll be back in 4 hours. He went to Albert's house, or Deke went to Albert's house, packs all his stuff up in black bags, and then comes back. When he comes back, Jimmy hasn't buried the body, but he's digging to find the body. He doesn't find the body. They buried the body, and Jimmy goes home. Jimmy goes to the crib. Later on, Deke's old partner, which is Jimmy's partner now, gives him a package that was sent from Deke. Deke wanted Jimmy to have this thing. It was a package. So his wife gives him the package. Inside the package, was a note saying "No angels," and then it was a red beret in there. And that red beret belonged to a girl of one of his cases. So it kind of tied into the way of like, oh, he had this beret that Deke found in the compartment that was in Albert's house, the secret compartment that was under the carpet, and that basically made him think like, oh, okay, so we did the right thing, my conscience is clear, I'm good. Then we go back to Deke. So Deke, he throws all the bags into a fire pit, burning all of Albert's stuff. Then he has like a chest, or like a toolbox, and nothing was in it. And he leaves it in his truck, but then he takes it out and throws it into the fire pit also. Then he goes to the front seat and he grabs this bag. In the bag was berets, and one was missing. And he throws that in there too, with the gloves. Then we get a flashback. Flashback shows Denzel Washington sitting there with his hands on his head like this at an autopsy room, and he sees a girl there. Then in the autopsy room, the lady pulls out a bullet fragment. Well, not bullet fragment, just a single bullet. Boom. And she puts it into a little metal holder, and she claims it as a stab wound. Basically, it was a cover-up. And that same bullet was on that same keychain that the lady gave Deacon to go into the house, to the victim's house. So it kind of reminded him of what happened, but they don't talk about that. So yeah. Oh, if you like this movie review, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you didn't, well, it'll be like that. Peace.